All right. Welcome back, my friends, to the podcast that never ends. Arena of Ideas podcast. Your podcast. I'm the host creator, Mike Kingston. Feels so good to be back. I'm going to try and, like I said, I was going to try and work on the process of getting more episodes out and getting the content out there for you and everybody out there listening as an opportunity to, again, preview the situation where it is talking about the ideas and everything everyone else has. That's why we do this podcast. All right. So the most important part is that it's for you. This is all done for you. I am the voice of the people, for the people, by the people. I'm a man, a microphone, and a message. It's not one idea. It's an arena of them. Correct? Exactly. Trying to get out there the logic, the reason, common sense, and everything else that matters to everyone. All right. And what I can't believe is this is the 44th episode of the Arena of Ideas. 44. 4-4. The episode is called In Case of Emergency, ... All right. And meaning that this is about first responders and an appreciation and thank you to those who have served before or are serving presently. Again, episode 44 is In Case of Emergency, and that's what it's all about. All right. Well, updates for you. There is 15 actual places to actually listen to the podcast. 15. They've added Amazon Music, of course, there's Spreaker, iHeart, Google, Spotify, there's YouTube, there's Apple, there's Deezer, there's Castbox, Podvine, Pod Addict, and so on. You could even Google search this and actually listen to the podcast. So when someone comes up to me now and I have 15 places to actually listen to the podcast, by all means, please do. I just tell them, well, how do you get things? How can you check out a podcast? Is it, through iHeart or Spotify, whatever you're doing, however you're listening, there's one way or another that we can find a way to help you out. Even if you don't have iHeart, we can help, just download the app. And if you're listening out there, tell these people or the ones that you know to listen, but also to show them how to listen. I appreciate that. Helps out a lot, immensely. And so basically that's it. I mean, you know how to get at me. It's phone number. It's listed there. Email, Michael Kingston 723 at Yahoo. There is word of mouth. And basically, like I said, there's no reason that everyone can't listen to this podcast because there's 15 actual formats and ways to get out there. Thanks to Spreaker. That's one of the 15. Thanks to them. Sorry, that just piped through. Anyway, so basically that's what's going on. Spreaker, speaker with an R, thanks to them. The big shout out and props to them, because without them, I don't have this podcast or this opportunity to get the message out for all of us. All right? Okay. So basically, like I just told you, that's the way in which to do this whole thing. Okay, so, I mean, that gets the formalities out of the way. Again, anyone out there listening, I thank all of you for listening and being a part of this. And it's through, downloading the podcast or, hitting the thumbs up or however you can get this, or you hit subscribe on YouTube because it's also on YouTube. You can hit subscribe or any way that you can actually listen to this podcast, and you can hit notifications and everything else. So when I have fresh, new, hot content that comes out on another podcast episode, you're ready for it. Just like this one. Like when I get done with this podcast, In Case of Emergency, episode 44 of the Arena of Ideas, it's going to come up. And if you have notifications, I have a few people that actually, when they're listening, they can hear all that. They can hear the fact that, they can see that a new one came up. Well, these are all called impressions, and I know it's over 6,000 impressions, And there's ebbs and flows to all this, but the impressions are the way in which they can see the kind of, how much volume and things that I'm actually doing with this podcast by more and more people listening, playing the episodes, hitting likes, hitting the hearts, however you can do it, thumbs ups, all that good stuff. And then you can, like I said, download the episodes or whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. 15 platforms to listen, right? Okay, so this is the experiment at the crossroads between content and conversation reinvented. It's a podcast for anything, everything, all things to everyone. This is your place to be. All right. I already told you the man, the microphone, the message and things. I am the conduit of content, voice of the people, for the people, and by the people. This is an all-information podcast wielding truth, humor, wit, sarcasm, freedom like a verbal weapon. All right, if you're screaming at the TV, the radio, or the sky, or in your head over the BS that's out there, this is definitely your place to be. You need to be here. You definitely do. Because we have things and important things to get out there. And again, every episode is like an awareness exercise, but the bottom line is that you matter and the things that everyone has to say matter in a First Amendment freedom format. I love this because now everyone can get their voices out there and be heard, and your words can be heard, and the ideas and things that you have can definitely be heard. Again, it's all the, the raves, rants, beefs, all the things that go on that everybody has. All right, so the views and opinions expressed in this and all Arena of Ideas podcast episodes are that of the host and guest, not to be taken out of context or misrepresented by any means possible. That's every single episode. You'll always hear that from me, and it's an important precursor to what we do. That covers everything pretty much, for the open. Again, this is episode 44. In case of emergency, and this is my opportunity to give a big thanks, a big high five, a big appreciation for all the people that are first responders, which are the police, the fire department, and the EMT, emergency medical technicians, and then also the people that serve this country in the military. Not saying other people don't do great things and people in the community do great, wonderful things as well. I'm just saying that this is a focus and attention on those that are sitting here and they're running towards danger and fire and all these other things that go on. They're the ones that run towards it, and they help protect us and our sovereignty, our freedom, our lives, and make everything better for us, for the processes and the things that they do. A big thank you. And that's what In Case of Emergency, episode 44 is all about. So what I'm going to do is, of course, like every other episode, I jump into some bumper music. We come back, we cover the main topic of awareness for the episode. Then I get into the comedy corner. We got a mic check. We have the wonderful Remember the Legends. Who could forget them? Never do. That's it. I'm going to go into this bumper music and get into the first little process of getting into the 44th episode, In Case of Emergency. So if you can hang on to your hats and everything else you have around you, and you're sitting here listening to the Arena of Ideas podcast, again, I'm your host, Mike Kingston, your podcast, episode 44, In Case of Emergency. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back. Love it. Love the bumper music and everything else that this podcast represents and all the people it represents, which is everyone. Why? Because it's your podcast. All right. So actually came up with a title for it originally, which is Roll the Dice for the Ultimate Sacrifice. But then I'm thinking, how are you just going to thank only those that have served when you've got other people that have done some great and wonderful things in the same capacity, if you will, in the trenches, in the front line, running toward danger, and, concerned for the lives, security, safety, and everything else that matters to us, which is everything that we are. If we don't have your first responders, you don't have the military and or other factions of the military, the Coast Guard, and so on and so forth. And you've got the National Guard, you have all these other things. Well, they all fall under the military, which is more than just the 4 branches and beyond that. Okay, so anyway, I want to first of all give props to Erica. Her name is Erica. She's when I did the Yellow Rose of Texas episode, I can't remember the number, but when I did that episode, Erica, nurse, also first responder, was had assisted me, and I had talked to her dealing with things in the hospital and other things, and she had the idea for that episode. Well, Erica, she's from Texas. She knows who she is if she's listening. Hopefully she is. And then props to Miguel. He's from Pueblo. So I've got Miguel from Pueblo and I've got Erica from Texas that were major kind of influences, if you will, in the process of getting this episode out, right? I have all these other topics of discussion and other episodes to talk about, but this one just kind of hit home right now with all the things going on. And there's some police and some other situations that are falling because of, due to trying to do their jobs and protecting us and serving. And some things have happened kind of across the country. And yeah, mind you, I started writing this, a while back, but I just kind of, have all these episodes in front of me. I look at all the numbers and I kind of determine, well, what should I really talk about? And I'm not sure what to do my next episode on. I'm not positive. What should I do? Well, sometimes I just leave it up to a gut instinct or a feeling, and then I go with that episode. And so, I've got a ton of other episodes I haven't done yet. It's just this one kind of hit home right now, and it's important. And, look, you may not like the ways that, things are done in America. You may not even like the military. You may not even like, or maybe you just, for whatever reason, you have indifference when it comes to the way things are done into hospitals or whatever's going on. But the bottom line is that these people are in the trenches. They're out there making sure that we are safe and we are okay when it comes to living for another day and so on and so forth. And that's what they do. So a big thank you to all of them. All right. So thanks first and foremost to all who perform and ensure the rest of us can carry on. Survive and live to tell about it, if you will. Exclamation point for sure. I am covering those having served in all the branches of the military, the first responders, both whom run towards danger to assist wherever needed, while in crisis mode, sacrificing all for others unconditionally. The police, fire department, and EMT, emergency medical technicians, are on the front line, if you will, in quotes, in the trenches, doing the hard work, doing whatever is necessary until it needs to be done to make sure that all things have been taken care of, from the humanity, the human life form itself, all the way down to everything else involved, be it buildings, be whatever's going on. But they do that and they serve and they command our respect and honor and privilege. And yeah, mind you, then not all of them are going to walk up and even talk about it or whatever, but just they need to know that we back them and we're there for them, and it's an important process for all of us, right? Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, just It's important. So I already explained that. To me, along with all having served or are still presently serving in the Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, Navy, National Guard, and all other factions, like I said, dealing with anything when it has to come to protecting, serving, and making sure that we are okay in every level, from the first responders. It could be we could be talking about Border Patrol here. We could be talking about the National Guard. You could be talking about whatever forces we have in our country and at our disposal have the ability to do whatever it takes in the situation to make sure that we are taken care of to the best of their ability. And again, we should appreciate that. All right. So they are all exceptional superheroes. Okay. I now, mind you, I did a What's Your Superpower and so on and so forth episode. Well, to me, they are the true superheroes, the ones that, the heroes and warriors and giving the ultimate sacrifice and all these things. I commend you all, just put a big smile on your face. And I hope this episode puts a big smile on their face, and the fact that we need them here. We need them now, and we need them as a part of the process of our country in all capacities. So again, they are the superheroes whose superpower is to protect, defend, and preserve life by any means possible. In times of emergency, all the above are on the scene to help stabilize the situation at ground zero, meaning at the lowest critical point of what's going on. In most cases, to help ensure everyone at the scene has the best chance of survival, no matter the situation. Looking at the history of both first responders and military, perhaps know where they come from to inform and educate, and then have a deeper understanding when it comes to this entire thing, because a lot of people that are younger people, maybe not or no, yes or no. Some people know traditions through families and things that they have been first responders. Some people serving the military are first responders too, but sometimes in some families, not everyone covers the bases and has a new understanding and a true understanding when it comes to all of it, being a first responder or also being in the military. Not everyone has that. Not everyone knows about it. So like I said, if you cracked open the podcast, clicked play on this episode, once you did all that and did everything else, you need to do to be a part of the arena of ideas, if you will, in this podcast, well, then maybe you're listening to this for the first time and you don't have an understanding, but now maybe this will bring to your attention and let you understand a little more about what exactly it is and what they do for us and why you should appreciate all things. All right. So respect and appreciation for the ones making the ultimate sacrifice. So when the opportunities presents itself, you can thank them for their service as whatever it applies or is applicable to them. If you wish to bestow that upon them, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to recognize anything. But, we need to get back to more common sense, logic, reason, and everything else that is truly mattering and should matter to everyone in this country. If you're a citizen of this country and a part of the process and everything else, look, the national anthem's on and the flag is up and you're actually, have your hand over your heart, or you standing there, or whatever you do for it. It doesn't matter. Look, I'm just giving it as an example. You're there as it's a patronage to the country, to the flag, and to an appreciation for what is done and what has happened and transpired for our country. Well, these are the people living, breathing in real time, superheroes, like I told you, that are doing this job. So, and look back in reflection to better shape the future. You must know how they started their legendary beginnings, both of them, right? First responders, fire department, police, EMT, in ancient Rome, 62 BC to 14 AD, started a process for them. Known as vigiles, vigiles, were responsible for safety of all buildings and people within as well. In the 1400s, there were carts that transported patients from their homes to the hospital, kind of like an ambulance, right? In the early 1970s, President Nixon, with a rampant problem with auto accidents, wow, back in the 70s when they weren't really reinforcing laws and seatbelts and stuff, right? Starting in 1965, surpassed the loss of soldiers on the battlefield, meaning people behind the wheel of cars were bypassing people in the field during wartime, serving our country. They actually passed that up, which is crazy. But during the 70s and going forward, more and more people were traveling and doing things, with their infrastructure and everything. So I could see that happening, right? Exactly. Okay, so anyway, surpassed the loss of soldiers on the battlefield, put into action a brigade of public servants, aka police, fire, and EMT, who in all communities are ready for action in a moment's notice. Prepared, on the ready, to go and do what they have to do as their vital part, integral part of being a first responder. All right, so for any and all situations with a worst case scenario mentality, in the 1980s, there was a huge push and initiative to have the best training, medicines, and care that is expected to this day, thanks to those who answer the call of duty. Their call of duty. Again, military serving, or also the EMTs, fire department, and police department that equal what? The first responders. All right. And so anyway, that kind of covers the kind of a brief history, if you will, of the first responders and kind of how they got started. I'm sure there's way more to this. And if I have, an opportunity to get someone who's a first responder or military on with me as a conversation, I'm going to put out way more. This is just not wanting to beat people over the head with the information, but getting it out there and making sure that, it's important to know, but it's not important to get drilled on or hit over the head with just so you can learn something. It's a way in which to have context and then appreciate. It really is. Okay, so anyway, the armed forces. The Congress of the Confederation created the U.S. Army on June 3rd, 1784. U.S. Congress created the U.S. Navy on March 27th, 1794. The U.S. Marine Corps, July 11th, 1798. Note, there is actually 7 branches of the military. Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard, Reserve components of them all, and also the last line of defense. Under the DoD, Department of Defense, all 7 are the uniformed services. Again, ones in uniform that are there to serve. I served 6 years in the Navy by volunteering. There have been drafts where and if your number is called, you must then enlist in one of the branches. We have 12 special forces groups, all of the branches, to be delegated when it's necessary, given the situation. Navy SEALs, Air Force Special Ops Command, 160 Special Ops Aviation Regiment, which is also known as Airborne. Way easier to say that. Marine Recon, MARSOC, MARSOC, U.S. Naval Special Warfare Command, Intelligence Support Activity, Space Activity Center, Force Recon, USAF Combat Control Team, Maritime Safety and Security Team, Delta Force Army Rangers, Fleet Marine Force, Joint Special Ops Command, CIA also work with these special groups as well. Man, that's a lot. So anyway, those are some brief histories. I mean, there's way more about the military, but guess what? Just know that you have these different forces that are there to protect you and help you. And the same thing with the first responders, all the ones that they have. Now, mind you, there's more than just those three, because then you've got, all the nurses and all the other, medical field workers and all these other people behind the scenes that also help this make and go. I'm just giving you brief information, so you have an idea, a good view of what's going on and how it's happening and what's out there and what's really important to all of us. All right. Well, I'm going to go to breaking this up a little bit, in bites. And you can't eat the whole pizza at one time unless you're really hungry, I guess. LOL. I'm going to put on some more bumper music. We'll come back and I'm going to have some other comments and things and some kind of reflectant views of myself pertaining and dealing with this. I've never been a first responder, but I did raise my right hand and was willing to serve the country via the United States Navy. So I'll give some of my views, some other things, tidbits and things I looked up, and give you some understanding, again, a little bit more behind this 44th episode in case of emergency. So we're going to break away to bumper music real quick, and then we'll come right back, and we'll be back into this episode. All right. Again, this is the Arena of Ideas podcast, your podcast. I'm the host, Mike Kingston. 44th episode, in case of emergency. We'll be right back.
Somebody blames me when you're cold and dead. Feel free to hurt me when I need your help. You say I'm guilty to save your own honest. Take my mind, spin it in the ground. Freeze my life, bust me in the mouth. Take my mind, spin it in the ground. Freeze my life, bust me in the mouth.
All right. Welcome back. Like I said, my intention was I had a few relatives that having served in the Army, a couple in the Navy. I know other people now out there that's in the Marine Corps or having served in the Marine Corps at one time. And so, my choice was easy. I kind of made that decision myself. Sometimes other people make it for getting the college education or something else. It doesn't matter. You're willing to raise that right hand and to take the opportunity to be there for us in the trenches, on the front lines, dealing with the military side of it or the first responder side of it. It doesn't matter. You guys are running towards danger, running to all the things that are going on and happening. And thank God that everything down from mass shootings to massive buildings on fire to earthquakes, whatever's going on the ready, quickly, are out there and will go out there and work tirelessly until, it's at a point where they can then step away. But it's just amazing what they do. And again, this can also quantify and qualify for Border Patrol people. It could be people in the FBI and the CIA, also the military. It's important that this message get out there. And it's important to be, to thank those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in both these ideas and things. Okay? I mean, look, I'm not trying to hit you over the head with it, but it needs to get out there. It's important. And, like everything else, what I do here is a wake-up call / awareness exercise that allows people to get these ideas and things back to the forefront of what's going on, because sometimes you're so hit over the head with 24-hour news cycles and all these other things going on that you're not really given a chance to sit there and remember the simple little things in life. And, even down to a handshake or holding a door for someone or a common courtesy or, making a difference in someone else's life. Even if you talk to someone for a few minutes, you made a difference in their life. Well, we can all do those things, but it's this amazing, wonderful things that these first responders and people that have served in all capacities. And I kind of rattled some off, but it's amazing, and it's vital that they're thanked for the process of what they do. And in the process, and in the fact that we all go through life, live in the moment, and we do these other things, we sometimes seem to forget everything else that's not in front of our nose here. And that we, beyond what we can actually see, there's other things actually going on, and we need to be mindful in all things in life, right? Exactly. Okay, so the common bond between first responders and military are the following. And this is just kind of what I came up with going through the research and looking at a few things and realizing that, these are kind of common things that we need to, putting perspective and tying a bow, if you will, on these people that do these wonderful things in this 44th episode, in case of emergency podcast episode. Excuse me. So these are the common bonds, okay? Volunteer their time, health, and well-being and lives to protect and serve America or other countries and communities and the people when called upon, depending upon what we're doing, where we're going, and what's the mission and all that stuff, right? Because it depends. Sometimes you'll have people deployed, and the two we're mentioning in this episode, right? They might get deployed out to other countries or to other situations that are happening in the world, and there's an outcry for help everywhere. Well, guess what? That's what we do. We as Americans, we've done this collectively for centuries, a ton of time, right? Run towards emergencies, danger, and all conflicts and situations that they are called upon to meet the needs and duties required. They both have legacies, traditions, and history in epic proportions, right? What I like to deem the true heroes and warriors giving the ultimate sacrifice for the betterment of everyone. Dude, if they're not out there doing what they do and everything else, you've got out of control chaos. You've got, the wheels, everything spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. You don't have people taking deep breaths, slowing things down, and then getting it to a situation where it can get out of critical and then can be stabilized and then become just a vital part of survival at that point. And your first responders and service people, they do those jobs tirelessly, thanklessly, with grace and hard work and all of the things that, exemplify really, like I said, the embodiment of what we are as citizens in America. Right? Exactly. So, a few more things here for you. Okay, U.S. Congress designated October 28th as the First Responders Day. October 28th is First Responders Day. The following are the days to appreciate the military. But actually, I go off on the fact that you don't need one calendar day or something on a calendar to recognize the fill in the blank. It could be National Hot Dog Day or National this day or that day or whatever day. But these are definitely ones that are marked and listed as important when it comes to all the situation dealing with the different parts of the first responders and also the military as well. Memorial Day is May 27th. Coast Guard birthday is August 4th. Loyalty Day, U.S. citizens reaffirm loyalty to America, which is May 1st. Independence Day is July 4th. Veterans Day is November 11th. November 10th is actually, and this is told to me by Steve, he's a Marine, and here where I am and here in Pueblo, Colorado. Veterans Day is November 11th. The Marine Corps birthday is according to all things and indicators, is November 10th. Armed Forces Day is May 21st. Marine Corps birthday again is November 10th. There's a lot more days on the calendar, and I don't want to go into getting this as being old or complacent or something else. Just want to let you know that there are ways in which to recognize and appreciate those in the capacities that we're explaining and listing here in this episode. All right, there are a lot more days on the calendar than what I listed. I don't want to get lost in these one-day celebrations. I don't want both first responders and military being appreciated, just held to one day of recognition. If you see them out and they're in the garb or the clothing of whatever they represent, please, by all means, walk up to them and thank them for their service as being a first responder, having served, or whatever way possible. Just please do that. You can make someone's day that way. Put a big smile on someone's face. Maybe even your own. All right? Okay, so let's see. I also don't want everything watered down and forgotten as a little cliff note on a calendar, or to fill time in print media, radio, and TV, like they like to. They like to announce these certain days and everything else, and all of a sudden there's their patronage. Well, it's great that they do that and they do recognize it and they do put it out there, but ultimately we need to make sure that we are taking care of those. And I'm not saying run up to people and frickin' get demanding of people's faces and then just, barking the stuff at people. I'm just saying, if you happen to feel the need or want to, make someone else's day. And if they happen to have done what we're doing in this episode, great. Commend them. Give them a handshake, a high five. Thank them. Maybe even buy them a meal or something. You never know. It's a kind gesture, and however you want to do it and celebrate it, it's great. All right, don't forget tomorrow is blah, blah, blah Appreciation Day. Literally, we are being peppered with every day is a national fill-in-the-blank day, such as it's National Hot Coffee or Hot Chocolate Day or Hamburger Day or whatever. So then you start becoming numb, and then it doesn't hold as much value, merit, and weight when it comes to whatever that holiday or tradition is. All right? I value and appreciate the hard-working men and women who on the daily make it the ultimate sacrifice for everyone. I encourage all to, by all means, thank the first responders and military for their service. My funny line is the following, and you can take away and use this if you want to, okay? It's a disservice on my part not to thank you for yours. LOL, right? Funny, funny, funny. That's what it's about. That's what I say. You can say this a different way. You can appreciate someone a different way. Family, friends, and otherwise that are doing these different jobs. Thank them how you want to, quietly or otherwise, or in front of a crowd of people. It doesn't matter. You're thanking them. All right, so just do this, okay? Just keep in mind, they both are protecting and serving, saving lives, property, constitution, country, citizens, liberty, freedom, sovereignty, and so much more. So if you're out and see first responders, police, the fire department, EMTs, military, and all branches, thank them for their service, right? They thank us all by doing the jobs every day and way. They do. They literally do. And, there's been issues with, go down the list. Throughout time, we've had, there's been downtrodden situations looking down upon people in the military. And they've even had, this push for defunding police and all these other things and all these other problems that are getting in the way of what truly is going on. And the fact that, all these different examples out there and all these other uprisings and all these other upheavals and everything else just seem to not look with favor, curry favor, with a smile and everything else when it comes to the military and the first responders doing so much for all of us, with such sacrifice. Like I said, they are the ultimate warriors and heroes, and also superheroes, like I said, that can do that. Everyone could be a superhero, though, if you learn, you learn how to resuscitate people or do whatever. That's great. But I'm saying these people that are out there, and that's what they do on the daily. Thank you. I'm going to break into another little break here. Sorry. I'm going to break into another situation where we're wrapping a bow on this part of it, which is the awareness part about, in case of emergency part. And then I'm going to go into Comedy Corner. We'll go into the mic check. And then lastly, Remember the Legends, wrapping a bow on this thing. And this will, finally conclude and close up this episode 44. So again, this is the Arena of Ideas podcast, episode 44. In case of emergency. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. It's now time for the Comedy Corner. And I got some people out there telling me that they love the Comedy Corner, and they love the fact that, I have some humor, some levity. We need it, because some of the topics of discussion are not the easiest things to talk about. Down from the human currency bankrupting mankind, down to the electric vehicle euphoria, gangrene energy episodes. I mean, there's other heavier ones too. We got minefield of mental health, people being bullied and all those other things. Bullies on parade, the hate they create. I mean, I could just go back through each and every one of these episodes. But, bottom line is we need levity. And I'm glad I'm able to have the flexibility to be able to put these things out there. All right, so we'll throw a couple humorous jokes out, and then we'll move on. So, I could not figure out how the seatbelt worked. Then it just clicked. What do you call a day that fell through the ice? What do you call a dad that fell through the ice? Anyone? A popsicle. Two parrots sitting on a perch. Two parrots sitting on a perch. Do you smell fish? All right, one last one here. Are you bad at golf? ? Join the club. All right. So that concludes that. That covers the wonderful Comedy Corner. I hope you're loving and enjoying and appreciating this wonderful podcast and all podcasts. And this, the whole podcast itself, all the episodes. I just hope that, you do enjoy, because I'm putting this stuff out there and getting it out there because it's important to be out there. And, I hope everyone's enjoying. If you're enjoying and you're loving listening to this, please, by all means, let other people know about the podcast, the 15 platforms to listen, and all the things that we're doing that are cool, they're new, and important for us all. Like I said, it's not just one idea, it's an arena of them. Well, it's a way in which to get people's ideas, thoughts, their voices heard, and everything else. So a lot of this stuff through censorship and other things are going away. And things like this and this podcast and other things need to be out there as a conduit, as an avenue for people to really get their voice be heard and get their messages out there. So again, if you get the chance, please, by all means, if you're already listening and everything else, let someone else know about this podcast. Today's a day. Tell someone else about it. Give someone else an idea. Maybe they would like to check it out and get the same opportunity as you do. So please, by all means, do that. I'm now going to be getting into the mic check and also the wonderful Remember the Legends. The mic check is covering Toby Keith, the country western singer and songwriter, and the legend is Michael Jordan, some basketball player you might know. I just wanted to cover him too. All right, so all right, of course, that is the sounder. That is the sounder for the mic check. So when you hear that, you know it's the mic check. It's an opportunity. And again, thanks, Nick. Thank you, Nick. Nick, good friend of the podcast and all things that is out there. And he's from Pueblo. Nick by way of Pueblo is the one that, along with me, kind of came up with the brainchild known as the mic check. I love music. He knows I love music. So it's a chance to get out there, the music industry itself in all capacities and genres, in a way in which to get more people more aware of the different groups and performers and things like that. Okay, so, all right, Toby Keith. Toby Keith Covell, born July 8th, 1961, died February 5th, 2024. Yes, just recently. Was an American country music singer, songwriter, made the Hall of Fame, right? Record producer, actor, and businessman. His debut song in 1993, still my favorite, song Should Have Been a Cowboy. His breakthrough hit was How Do You Like Me Now? And again, look these up. Look up his catalog. Look up what music he has out there and what he did and the impact that he made in not only country, but in the music industry itself. Important. Sadly, he was gone way too soon and needs to be more appreciated. But like I said, at least this gets his name out there and gives us a chance to revisit, remember, and also appreciate, rest his soul, Toby Keith. So How Do You Like Me Now? Basically, topped the charts in 2000. He was more than just a singer, more than just a larger-than-life country performer, right? Exactly. I gave you his accolades. In 2006, got a chance to dabble in the movie industry in 2006. In a film called Broken Bridges, awarded the National Medal of Arts in 2021 from the president. From the humble beginnings in Oklahoma, growing up, created a bar and grill called I Love This Bar and Grill in 2005, which grew to over 20 locations in different states. He also operated a casino, same name, created and marketed a new drink in 2011 called Wild Shot. Loved and respected, the country and military, had a major drive in the fight. Had a major drive in the fight against cancer, raising millions for the cause. Had his own cancer. He had his own cancer cause, trying to raise and help people with cancer in all walks of life. And basically, he himself came down with, I believe, stomach cancer, and thus, he had the foundation. But I mean, amazing the things he did, and again, gone way too soon. I like him. I've always liked him for the country part of it. I don't like a billion and one things in country. I like what I like though in country, and I like good music. So again, check out all of his catalog and everything else that he's done. And like I said, he's done everything. He did a little bit of everything and anything and everything. Ironically, contracted stomach cancer, fought it for more than 10 years. What a great everything kind of life. Living the American dream. Listen to his music catalog. and everything else. Amazing. No, he was just this amazing, larger-than-life person that came on the scene in the 90s and just kind of lived life to his fullest and took advantage of every moment he could in the process. All right, you know what that is? That is the sounder, if you will, for Remember the Legends. All right, today we're doing Michael Jeffrey Jordan. What an elite, an amazing player of basketball of all time. I don't care what level, whatever's going on. He really needs no introduction or any explanation, but again, I love to cover, the legends and the mic checks at the end, giving myself to, the process after I've done my episode itself. This gives me that chance to get out there and get information out there about icons, legends, music, and anything else you come up with. You come up with ideas to add other things here. It doesn't matter. Thank you. All right. So, all right. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, born February 17th, 1963 to present, still alive. A net worth of $3.2 billion. Won 6 NBA championships, was undefeated, by the way, in the NBA Finals. And 1 national championship, which he won back in, I believe, 82 with North Carolina, of course. That's where he played his basketball. Stayed there until he went on to the NBA. A fiery competitor in all endeavors, on and off the court, tried his hand in baseball with the White Sox, Major League Baseball, for 2 years. And during a 2-year span that he wasn't there because he won 3, then there was a 2-year break, and then you had the next 3 that he won in a row. All right, so basically, like I said, there was the 3 years in a row that he won championships. Now, mind you, it was a tough road to toe. It was difficult. He was in the Eastern Conference. He had to work his way through. He had strong teams in the Boston Celtics and a few other teams like the Detroit Pistons and stuff he had to go through. So it wasn't some easy road. In fact, he finally got some talent around him and he was able to, it wasn't, I don't know, can't remember how many years it took in the league before he was able to actually accomplish this and start winning championships, but it was a while. Again, he won 3, took a break for 2 years, which the Houston Rockets won championships back to back. And then when Jordan came back, they won the next 3, which is incredible. It's an amazing feat. And I don't have any good facts in front of that time actually happening some other time. But you know what? That's okay. Amazing a life in respect to being in some circles of being the GOAT of the NBA. Greatest of all time. Others see it as being LeBron James. His mother played a major role in his success, changing how players in NBA were viewed by the league before NIL and before, NIL and the player portal for college and free agency and all this other stuff. Well, all before free agency and players were moving around, because this is back in the early 80s he did this. His mother wanted to make sure that he had his own brand. He had a contract. He got a contract with Nike, and they were making sure that Michael Jordan, the Air Jordan brand and all things were being taken care of and curated and making sure that Michael Jordan, no matter what, will have this to fall back on. He did commercials and everything else, but I'm saying it was unheard of in the time in the 80s that he was doing it, that they were actually shoe contracts and all these other things that were going on. Again, not to hit you over the head, just saying. His mother made sure to pave the way that Michael Jordan could do this, and you would have different situations for the players today if people like Michael Jordan didn't speak up, didn't, go with what they believe in, and then, the bottom line is they wouldn't be where they are today with all the opportunities for the players if you didn't have people like Michael Jordan and his mother making sure those contracts and things were being done. So again, before NIL, which is name, image, likeness, etc., signed a contract with Nike for his own Air Jordan, in quotes, brand. Not possible back then to now, opening the door for players to have opportunities. A great golfer as well, took his talents, heart, tenacity to anything he did beyond basketball. A complete and ultimate warrior, an ultimate competitor, didn't care. He would find whatever it took as something from the opponents to sit there and drive him as like a chalkboard, like a bulletin board material to motivate him any way he could. Didn't matter. Tom Brady was the same kind of person some of the analysts have talked about. All right. So, bottom line, that's what he was. He brought the Charlotte Bobcats. He bought the Charlotte Bobcats NBA team, most remembered for his court acrobatics, solidifying his Air Jordan brand, taking over games and willing teams to victory in three NBA championships consecutive, and then won 3 in a row again later after he took a stint in baseball. Liked to gamble, and even won with the Dream Team in 1992, having a star-studded cast on that team. For the Olympics, a gold medal. This is just scratching the surface on him. Look him up and watch the YouTube highlights. He's got a documentary series and all of the things you can get about Michael Jordan. Google him. I don't care what you do. Get some information about him, but he's just an amazing person. Did great things. And look, the debate's always on about who's greatest and who's this and who's that. Someone brought it to me that he said, well, if it's a results league, then how come it's not championships? Okay, great. That would be Bill Russell. Longevity and doing what he's doing and setting precedences and records and everything else, that's LeBron James. And yeah, all deserve their accolades, their kudos and everything else for them. Good job. I'm just saying, if you wanted a fierce competitor, someone you're going to put the ball in their hands and they're going to take over and they're going to will themselves to victory and they're going to do whatever it takes with tenacity in all things, Michael Jordan was that fiery competitor about everything. The guy was just amazing. So again, look into his stuff for Toby Keith. Listen to his, go read up on his stories and all that stuff. Look into him. Listen to his collection, his catalog of music. And by all means, take the opportunity to appreciate this situation and these different people. Okay? All right. So anyway, I'm going to break into one more bumper music set. And then we'll get right into wrapping a bow on this 44th episode. Okay, so again, this is the Arena of Ideas podcast, your podcast. It's the 44th episode in case of emergency. We'll be right back.
There's just something in your voice, a subtle tell when you're annoyed. And tonight we might, if I'm right. Here we stand, but it's unknown which way all of this could go. So we might, if I'm right. Though I'm never right.
All right. Welcome back. I know I repeat myself there. Just my way of saying hello. Saying all things and it mattering. Okay, so basically, I've kind of laid everything out here. This is the other places in print media and radio and TV, they give you lip service, but here on the Arena of Ideas podcast, it's real service in real time. Of course it is. Basically, what's happening is this is your first time listening to the podcast. This is 44 episodes in, but you just got privy to this. Someone showed you on the ways in which you can listen, how to listen, and downloading the app and then getting on either one of the 15 platforms to listen. And this is your first time. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for opening up the, Arena of Ideas podcast and then checking it out and seeing if this is worth your time. Like anything in life, you give it a test drive. If it's a car, bike, I don't care what it is, you give it a test drive. You want to see what it's like and everything else. That's all I want is people to give it a test drive. If you find one of these cool or weird or strange titles or whatever is going on and it catches your fancy and you want to listen to it, please, by all means, listen to that episode. You don't have to listen to this in order. I just have certain things I've done over the entire course of better than a year and a half that I've done this, that you can listen to any of the episodes, or hell, some people actually listen to all the episodes and are waiting for the next one to come out just like this one. So again, if you've come back and you've returned and you're listening, I want to thank you again too, because I consider all of you my family and friends out there. All of you matter. What you have to say matters. And that's why I have this podcast. I started it in the whole 9. But the bottom line is, if it's your first time, welcome. If you've been back here a number of times and you're back again, thank you for returning. Thank you for still believing in this podcast and what's going on with it and what's happening. I'm going to have other future episodes. Again, I've got 44 under my belt. I'm trying to get to 50 and then to 75 and 100 and so on. It's limitless and endless because everyone's ideas and everything else is the same. So please, by all means, do yourself a favor and me a favor. Be a part of what we do here. And I appreciate everything that everyone does. And I pretty much like everything else. But anyway, until next time, this has been your host, Mike Kingston of the AOI, or Arena of Ideas podcast. Your podcast. Have the best of the rest of your day. And until next time,